and welcome to episode 15 of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt. Again, he's Matt and I'm Mike. We are back with our bi-weekly show where we discuss a bunch of things: gaming, physical, mental health, other assorted oddities. What does the guy say at the camp? Oddities and baubles, or this, that, and
something like that.
Something like that. You can take the boys out of Fallout 76, but you can't take the Fallout 76 out of the boys.
Got us in deep, Mike.
We're
real deep.
We will cover that, but we are broadcasting live on a Sunday morning, and the show will go out later today. It's just the way the cookie has crumbled these last couple of weeks that we needed to put it off for a couple days. But nevertheless, we are back. Lots to discuss, Matt. We got some PlayStation news items. We have some Xbox news items and other things to discuss as well. But let's just jump in here. Right now, we are middle of September. What the fuck is the date today?
Yeah, pretty much. It's September 15th.
It is. We are almost there. Like favorite time of the year, right?
October.
Yes. I'm going to touch upon that. Thank you for mentioning that. So, like yesterday was 85 degrees out. Today, I think, is supposed to be similar. I think my wife and kids are going to the beach in a little bit. So it's still very much summer here. But, a couple days it has been really cool. The nights are really cool. So it is the favorite time of the year, but I got to tell you, I got to be honest with people because we check in here about the physical and the mentals. I have not been, mentally not doing well. Physically, I'm not going to say at peak performance, but I weighed myself about a week ago. And in this health journey that I'm on, I'm at the lowest. I'm not going to reveal the number, but I'm at the lowest I've been since I've been married. I'm about 25-ish pounds away from my marriage weight. So all that stuff is going well, but I would say I'm dealing with a lot of anxiety lately, Matthew. And I don't have any any one thing to pinpoint it on. Yeah, there's some work stuff going on. There's some physical, my knees have been hurting me, and my hips have been hurting me, so I haven't been sleeping as well. So I think that feeds into a little bit of the brain not getting its proper rest at night. So then I start to get these anxiety issues, and you're saying well, what are you anxious over? And I say, well, but you listed A through fucking Z, household things that I need to take care of to winterize for the season change. Just the usual things I got to do at the end of summer, work related stuff. And then you just touched upon Matt-tober, and that's, really been weighing on me as well, that, I'm inching closer to 50. You're a little over 50. I can't remember if we mentioned this on the last show or we mentioned it privately. All of it kind of blends together. But the age thing is I'm not concerned about being 50. It's just a number. But what I think concerns me is shit. When you are 50, you're in the back nine, and it's you're not guaranteed the next fucking 20 to 30 years, and that's been stressing me out. You're on mute, sir. I can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to blow my nose here. Health issues. Get them morning allergies going. I know the whole anxiety thing, with me and stuff. The kids are, I got the senior. He graduated this year. What's he going to do? He's got himself a little job now, and he's going to vocational school and doing stuff, and he seems to enjoy it. And I've got the older one who's I got a good job, but he's not sure if he wants to stay there and stuff like that. And me, and I've got a good job. I'm working pretty well. I don't have too much to worry about there, but I'm starting to think. I hear more and more. It seems like when I turn 50, for some reason, I don't know if maybe I'm just consciously paying attention or not, but retirement goals and stuff like that. I'm probably, it seems like a long time. I'm probably about 10, 15 years away from actual retirement, but. Like we just said, September already. Well, guess what? I'm going to be 60 already, next week or something. So it's.
Well, we were talking about that last night. We were reminiscing about, some of the old podcasts, 40cast and Dad's Getting Ground and Gamers in Beta. And it was man, I think it was like 10 years ago that those shows happened, not that they ended 10 years ago, but I think, 10 years ago at this time, we were doing those shows. And like, where has the time gone? Because we were thinking like, well, we took like 2.5 years off in between this and Bad Fodder Figures, and Bad Fodder Figures must have run for like 3 to 4 years. So
yeah,
time is just moving on. And, same thing with the kids. My oldest is back in school, in college, and, he's in downtown Boston. So I got anxiety with that. There's,
yep,
all sorts of, where he lives in downtown Crossing area, there's just more and more violence on a daily basis. So I worry about that. But it just, the anxiety has been eating away at me. And I think something that's been a saving grace has been the Fallout 76, just, dealing with the anxiety in the game and not, and not real life anxiety, just, that regular cadence of, okay, you've put in a day's work, you've had dinner time with the family, the kids are situated, no one's needing anything from me, my wife's okay, she's got her show on, she doesn't need my attention. And then I come down here and just, veg out on the Fallout 76 for a little bit and just sort of take my mind off things and then get that nice brain fatigue and hopefully get a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yep, same with me. It's a nice little escape after work, everything going on. Because it is nice and relaxing to just sit here and chill. Even though the game can get hectic at times and a little frustrating at times, it's still a nice little release.
I don't know how Todd Howard does it. He's fucking making that game as we're playing.
Think so.
Changing the rules up on us. He's like he's a puppet master.
Soon as you and I figure something out in the game, I'm like, oh man, this is a game changer. I think Todd knows. He's like, oh, Matt and Mike figured it out. We got all right. Stop everything. Change the game.
Yeah. Just when you think you got it figured out, no. The update that has rolled out, was it last week? Has it been a week now? 2 weeks?
Yeah, Milepost 0.
Yeah. Still figuring all that out, and Matt and I have not had good luck with the RNG lords. The RNG gods have not been favorable to us.
No, not at all.
We could touch upon that here in a little bit. I did leave the house a couple times since we've last officially spoken on a podcast. Last Friday, I ventured up to Portland, Maine to see my friends in a band called Madball, which is a band that I toured the United States with and played many, many shows with over the years. Great New York hardcore band, so it was good to see those guys, reminisce, catch up. And it was nice to just get out of the house with my wife and I. She's a big fan of them as well, so that was a good time. And then this past Thursday, Yeah. What's today? Sunday? Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
I went out to what I would call my first sort of folk Americana country-ish type show. So the guy doesn't live in Massachusetts. Isn't from Massachusetts, but lives in Massachusetts, Western Mass. His name is Jeffrey Foucault. And he's been at it for a number of years, put out many records. And I sort of fell into this guy by listening to some other artists, and he was playing like the next town over from me, literally no more than a 10-minute drive, 15-minute tops. So I was like, well, I can't pass up this opportunity. Very good band. The opening act was interesting. I think a lot of these guys, it's rough being out on the road, so they got to get creative. So the opening guy played a couple songs solo. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 songs solo. And then the headliner came on and was like his backing band. Even the main dude was like the backing band. And they did another maybe like 4 or 5 songs of his songs together. And then they took a break. And then the opening act was the guitar player and the headlining act, like the lead guitar player.
Oh, nice.
So that's a sort of way to save a little bit money-wise, right? Make the band sort of interchangeable. Very good. I went up to them, just had a brief conversation. There wasn't many people there. I would say maybe 60-ish people there, which is kind of disappointing. But I said, guys, I got the utmost respect for you. I go, was a touring musician for a lot of my, life. And, when people just stood around, not sitting, when people just stood around, it was a bum out of a show, and you really had to dig deep performance-wise to get into it. I go, you guys know from the drop that you're probably performing to a lot of people 60 and above, and people that are sitting down. And when you're sitting down, you're prone to be on your phone because that's how the human body has been conditioned. I go, and you guys got to get up there. And people, when they look at you, got to think, you're like fucking Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, all these people like wrapped into one. And if you don't live up to that goddamn stereotype, people aren't going to be thrilled. So like, I got the utmost respect for you. You guys just go up there and just own it. And people are just sitting down. I go, I don't know how you do that, but I was guilty as well. what am I going to do? Stand up and everybody else is sitting down? It was in a very nice tent, like think the place that I went to was called the Fruitlands Museum, and it was I don't know the exact history of it, but it's a very large acreage, and it was something in the 1800s when they were starting out, coming up with different ways of living, sort of like Appalachia, right?
Right.
With the land and everything like that, communal living, different agricultural. Anyways, they have maintained, it's a national landmark or something like that. So a very nice piece of property, and they got this, big white tent on there. Just imagine you could have weddings and other functions inside there. It's, heated and all sorts of lights, and feeds into the main building with all the restaurants. But everybody was just sitting down, and the other thing I noticed is, like I said, everybody was probably north of 60. Maybe me and two or three other couples were younger than 60. And as I was, enjoying the band and looking at people, and then I also saw something on Twitter where the Cincinnati Pop Orchestra was playing in Cincinnati, and I looked at all the people in that crowd, and those people looked all like north of 60. I said, what's going to happen when all these people die out? Who's going to these the pops, and who's going to see these sort of folk, artists who are sort of walking in the steps of Bob Dylan now? Is this are we seeing the end of this sort of these genres? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you raised a good point there. You got the symphonies, orchestras, all that stuff, or and yeah, like the Cincinnati Pops. I'm sure the Boston Pops and all that. Where these crowds, they're starting to die off. Who's taking their place? Because, all this arts and culture and music has been taken out of schools. So, these kids aren't really getting educated on it and not knowing to appreciate it and what it is. Unless parents are, start taking kids to these things, or they change things up. Yeah, I think you're right. These crowds are going to start just slowly, dying off and going away, and what's going to, who's taking their place with all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, certainly those orchestras do well seasonally, right? They're big, the families go for the Christmas stuff, but sort of all that stuff in between, who's going to that? And I think it's a large segment of that is, people 60 and above. Country's one of the biggest music genres ever, so that's not going away, but that sort of bubblegum, fucking insipid country that I will never listen to is not the country that I'm talking that I was going to, whatever that Jelly Roll and all that. I don't know what that is, and I don't ever want to know what that is.
I'm with you there.
The stuff I sort of lean into more is that sort of folk, Americana, outlaw country type stuff. But I got to tell you, it's the first time I talked to someone in person with the cowboy hat on and boots. And he was, even though he lived in Western Mass, he sort of walked and talked a little bit like a cowboy. It was interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him as much because he was getting off stage and a lot of people were coming up and buying merchandise, and he was getting pulled in different directions. But I talked to the opening guy quite a bit. He was a nice guy from Minnesota. We were just chatting about some common things that I'm aware of from that area. So It was all in all, it was a good time to leave the house, man. The point I'm saying is, Mike was maybe having some anxiety, and it was good to get out and touch grass, as the kids say, and
Uh-huh.
and
Yes.
do some other stuff.
Nice. Oh, good. Oh, that's good. You're getting out and about and doing things now.
Yeah, I got a crazy weekend coming up next weekend too. I got 2 shows on Saturday and Sunday. Looking forward to October, Matt. Slow down. We got to slow down. Mike can't leave the house 4 times in 1 month.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What the hell? This is unheard of.
Thank God it's not during a double XP weekend.
Yeah, really. Great. Yeah, playing around that shit.
I want to make light of this situation, but I know it's not a funny situation. A few weeks ago, 2 NHL players were killed while they were riding their bicycles the day before going to their sister's wedding. A person was drunk driving and, swerved into them because I guess he had some road rage. So what I'm asking you, Matt, is how quickly would Barb sell you out on something like this? So I was reading the article. They said that the gentleman's blood alcohol level, right, was, well, first of all, the legal in New Jersey that you can drive with is like what, 0.08%, something like that. And this guy was at 0.087. Now, I'm not a chemist. I don't know how much the 7 there at the end, how much more than that, but he admitted that he was drinking 5 to 6 beers. Okay. Now, his wife, I don't know if they must not have a great relationship, but boy, she sold him out quick. She told the prosecutors that that ever since he's been working from home, he started drinking at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and that he's always driven like a nut. He's always had road rage issues. Motherfucker got sold out quick like.
I don't know if Barb would sell me out like that. I mean, if something came up with possibly, I don't know, cheating or something like that, she'd probably, she'd be, but something like that, I don't know. I don't think she would. I don't think she would. I'm sure I don't want to test this theory out,
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, she's told me a couple of times here and there before where we've been talking to people, like, for example, company picnic or something like that, or at Christmas party where somebody says something, she'll bring, oh, well, Matt's downstairs playing video games all the time or something, he don't work on the house. He's down there playing video games. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I mean, there is times like that where she'll do shit like that,
Quickly throw you under the rug.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she won't hesitate something like that, or But nah, I think something like that. I think she probably wouldn't, because well, I mean, she'd have to go like back to work and shit, because she's swimming under the bus to taking down the road. So
yeah.
What about you?
That's an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. No, actually, I did talk to her, and she goes, well, she said, I definitely wouldn't say you drive like a nut, because you actually drive like an old grandfather, fucking you barely going the speed limit, She's like, so you're definitely not a bad driver in that sense. And I don't actually, when I went out the other night, I had 2 beers for the first time, and I can't remember when. Oh, they were going down so good, man. It was like fucking.
Yeah.
I was like, I still got it. I could put these down, no problem. It was
nice.
It was a little warm in that tent. And everybody else was drinking, and I didn't know how much time was going on. And I was like, what am I going to do? Just sit here? And, So I ordered 2 beers because I said, well, Lynn will have it. This isn't a heavy beer. She'll drink it. And she wanted nothing to do with it. So I drank it.
Nice.
You did have the company picnic yesterday.
Yeah.
A good time was had by all.
Yeah, it's a very good time.
Can you confirm or deny? Did the Helmers win the sack race? Was there any of that's?
There was no sack race. Like the old TV shows used to show all the time. But there was bingo, and my son won $100 at bingo, and I came one number away from winning $200 in bingo. That would have been nice little payday.
Which means you didn't win anything.
I didn't win anything. No, I didn't win anything. Yeah, good food, beer. It's fun seeing people outside of work. Some people are like totally different outside of work. So They're a lot more fun there than they are at work, so it's nice. Lots of kids showing up now. Barb and I are no longer the young people at these things. We're the older people now. So, we were talking yesterday to a couple other people that when we first started the company, we was young. We didn't know anybody. Then there was years where we knew a bunch of people. Now we're older. We don't know a lot of people anymore at these things because they're younger and their families and stuff. So, yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. Nice weather. Nice little place that it's at every year.
We've been having some great weather, Matt, but the only downside to all of this, we've had no rain, and our lawns are looking like absolute dog ass.
Oh, my gosh, it is so bad here.
It hasn't rained at all this month, and I don't know if it rained much at the end of August either. I think when I read something in the paper the other day, we were at the longest stretch of no rain, something like it was 25 days when I read it, so that had to be 5 to 7 days ago. So anywhere between 30, 32 days without rain here.
Yeah, there's parts of Ohio that they're disaster areas because of the drought and that. And then, of course, now they're talking about the fall, the leaf peeping and stuff is going to be pretty dismal this year. Their leaves are going to fall fast because everything's so dry.
Leaves are falling right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're already starting to turn in a bunch of places. Yeah, unfortunately, but it's so dry. When you walk outside, when I'm walking through the yard, it's just the grass is so crunchy because it's so dry. It's like, ugh.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is Sunday, Matt, and we're going to have football today. Quick predictions: Bengals, Chiefs at 4:00. Game of the week. What are we at?
I wish to say that the Bengals are going to pull it out, and win 30-21. But I believe the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win this game. I'm saying Kansas City is going to win it 28-16.
What happened to your Chiefs last week, Matt? Your Bengals last week. My Patriots beat the Bengals. I tell you, the Patriots are supposed to be the worst team in the league. They're supposed to be earmarked for the overall number one pick. Although, if 1 week is sort of any guide, the Carolina Panthers still look like the worst team in football. Mm-hmm. The Patriots will probably get the second pick. But anyways, my Patriots beat your Bengals
easily.
Yeah, that was
Bengals looked sloppy. They were horrible. Sloppy game, sloppy play. Man, I hate to, Joe, I don't know, man.
And last week you were making nachos. What's on the menu today for football?
I think today the menu, I'm going to run out and get some Italian sausages, throw some sausages on the grill with some peppers and onions.
Because it's what?
It's sausage season.
But no tacos, though. You said you wanted to talk about tacos. How come you're not making tacos today?
Well, I had tacos earlier this week. And that's the reason why I'm bringing this up. Okay, so, tacos. You eat tacos, right, Mike?
Yeah.
You and your family eats tacos?
Yeah, better or worse than the pizza you had the other day?
That pizza was horrible. Absolutely horrible. If anyone from Papa John's listens to this podcast, I want my money back. That was absolutely horrible pizza we had Friday night. Good golly. I should have just made pizza myself or something. It was bad. So bad.
Yes,
but tacos.
We do like tacos, yes.
Okay, so when you get tacos, here's my problem with tacos. Okay, I like hard shell tacos more than soft, than the flour tortillas. I like hard shell tacos. And minor thing, I just want to know if other people experience this when they're eating tacos. When you're building your taco, it's in that hard shell, and you try to stack your tacos so they all stand up so you can fill them. Then they fall over and all the shit falls out. I mean, am I the only one, or am I just so hungry that I don't take my time to, prepare my tacos or something? It just
well, you put your base in, right? So you got your beans and your meat at the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Right. And then what are you going from there? You're putting in the salsa and then the
usually I go
cheese and sour cream.
Yeah, usually I go meat, either the salsa or some taco sauce. Some lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, and sour cream on top of that. And then, but the problem is the taco falls over and all that shit just rolls out and makes a mess on the.
I think at that point, you do the best you can. Some of the stuff that falls out, you got to have some tortilla chips there to scoop it up,
scoop it back in or something. Yeah,
yeah. Just my whole thing with the hard shell is I feel like once you've bitten into it, you gotta quickly eat all of it because then it just all breaks apart, right?
You gotta go to town, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. So tacos are sort of like ribs to me. Like in theory, yeah, they sound good and they do taste good, but they're just a pain in the ass to eat. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm getting at. That's why they're so good, so tasty.
Ribs are the same way, but then inevitably, your hands are sticky as shit, and I get a lot of that shit stuck in my teeth at the end of the night. So I don't do a lot of ribs. Now, a burrito, give me a nice burrito, whether it's a dinner burrito where you got to, cut into it, or it's a burrito like a lunchtime burrito where you just, got it in the aluminum foil and you're holding it.
I'm more of a fan of the lunchtime burrito where you can hold it in your hand and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, the burrito's perfect. You just put in your hand, you can walk around, you can go places, do things, burrito in your hand, just whatever. Taco, you can't do that.
It's very adaptable.
It is. Very, very much so. Own little package and everything.
Yep. I do like tacos. It's been a minute since
I like a good taco.
Yep. I would agree with you. All right, we got some gaming news to get into, Matt. Before that, do you want to touch upon anything we've been playing, which of course has just been Fallout 76? Anything you want to sort of update us or add to us? Any thoughts, new impressions? Where are you at with it?
Still deep into it, having fun, enjoying it. Daily challenges, doing the daily quests and all that things, and working on our builds and perk cards and leveling up, all that stuff, just tweaking here and there, learning things. Yeah, if anyone's playing Fallout 76, we're normally in Discord in our open channel, talking about shit and stuff and what have you.
Yeah, it's too bad there's no cross-play in this because Maniac plays a lot on Xbox, but he can't join us. I don't think they're ever going to add that, which is unfortunate. But if you're playing on PC, whether it's Steam or Windows, there is cross-play there. You could join us for sure.
Yep,
absolutely. We got all sorts of camps across the map. And I'm cautiously optimistic about this Blue Ridge Caravan update that's going to come out here, where we're going to have to protect the caravans in Skyline Valley.
Yeah, and even make our own caravans and stuff.
Yeah, our own outposts. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll see how all that shakes out. But yeah, I'm level, I want to say 216, 217, somewhere in that right now. I've probably added about 20-ish levels with the double XP weekend. Hopefully I can double that output between today and tomorrow at noon. That's when it all wraps up, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think, dabbling on Reddit, you realize just how much you don't know about this game and how much more strategy there is. And then I have to decide whether I want to do that, because then it really becomes like a full-time job, And maybe I think a little bit of that nerding out, touching upon it a little bit is enjoyable, but going neck deep with, I posted in Discord the XP buff path that you can go down. You can make these brain bombs, you can get the cranberry, you can do this buff, you can put these at the end of the day, you just go nuts just to get some double XP for what? Just watch the number go up,
Chasing that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot with the game. We're I wouldn't say we're casual players, but we got our own little thing going on with the game and that, and seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah. And we're in an interesting time because fall is usually when a lot of these, games come out. So Matt-tober is coming up here soon, which is quickly followed by Mike-tober. So I think, maybe for the birthday, you got to get, some Astrobot. You got to play a little bit of that. I said before, I want to play Space Marines 2, which is getting excellent reviews. Astrobot is getting excellent reviews. I think both of those could be up for some awards at the end of the year. And then, I'm still curious about the Star Wars Outlaws. Looks like that's getting a bunch of updates. So by the time I'm ready to play that, the game should be in a good, solid state. Looking forward to expanding some gaming stuff here down the road when maybe some birthday stuff comes in, and I'll pick up some of these games. But it's odd. It is different for me. If you've ever listened to any other podcasts we have done, I'm usually always buying the games, right? And I don't know if it's because of Fallout 76 and I would just buy them and not play them. I don't know if it's because I'm starting to slowly get conditioned where, we just don't pay for games anymore, right? You just get them in these subscription services, which I don't need to go into. But for whatever reason, I have not pulled the trigger on these games yet.
Yep.
But Matt-tober is coming. Anything on the list, sir? What is the expectations? What are you looking to do in Matt-tober?
Relax. Relax. I don't know. Get back. I've been slowly getting back into it, walking, doing stuff, and out of fall, and that won't be as hot, and that start getting good time to jump back into exercise and doing things. So I'd be good there doing that, and Call of Duty be coming out. Play that. Play some Madden football.
So So someone will maybe get you some workout clothes rather than a PS5 Pro, which we're going to talk about here in just a minute.
It'll be both. I could receive both and make it work.
So the PS5 Pro was announced this week. We talked about it, I think, on the last episode. It was, rumored, and would that get Matt back into console gaming? So let's talk about the system first, Matt, and then get your impressions. The main features of the PS5 Pro is, they call this the big three: upgraded GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI-driven upscaling, which is known as PISA. PSSR. And it's supposed to be the most visually impressive way to play games on PlayStation. So if we pause there for a second, the AI-driven piece, AI-driven upscaling, known as PlayStation Super Sampling Resolution, something along those lines. What they have determined, Matthew, is that 75% of the player base is playing on performance mode. 25% is playing on, the best visual mode. And when they introduced the PS4 Pro, they kind of did just what I explained. They gave gamers the option to play in performance mode or fidelity mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess internally at PlayStation and developers are saying, well, the best looking game visually, players are not playing, that they're going for performance instead. So now with the PS5 Pro, you're going to take that away, the choice, and they're going to put in this AI-driven mode.
It's just automatic going to happen.
Where you don't have to make the decision. It's going to, I guess, factor in all the things that you got, the television, the system, blah, 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 and the game. And it's going to take the choice out of your hands, and it's just going to serve you the best version of the game.
Interesting.
And so what's interesting is, Microsoft has spent all this money in AI with Copilot and all this other stuff. And Sony, here in November, will have beaten Microsoft to the punch with this AI-driven technology, which is sort of big in gaming right now. That's what NVIDIA has become, the largest corporation in the world, bigger than Apple because of all this AI technology. So is the mid-gen refresh for PlayStation is the first time AI is being introduced. So yeah, we'll see. And it's supposedly going to, offer enhancements to all sorts of games. And, so there's going to be the PS5 Pro Game Boost, which they also had a Game Boost in the PS4 Pro, which can apply more than 8,500 backward compatible PS4 games to be playable on the PS5 Pro. It includes a 2 terabyte SSD, which is different than the base model, which only comes with one. It comes with the wireless controller, a copy of Astrobot's Playroom pre-installed. So yeah, it's going to be the biggest, baddest, best version. It's going to be the same size footprint-wise as the PS5 original. It is bigger than the PS5 Slim. It is out November 7th. You can pre-order directly from Sony on September 26th. Other retailers on October 10th. And here's the big part, Matt. And this is where I want to start the dialogue with you. Is that this thing is going to be $699 in the United States, no disk drive, and no stand. Now, before I get into your reaction about the price, many people, us included on this podcast and other podcasts we've been on, have said that we have moved away from buying games with the disc, physical media, that we are in the download era, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And many people are up in arms that this thing doesn't include a disk drive. And I think there's 2 reasons probably it doesn't, because they're trying to keep the cost down. It's already at $700. And maybe the research, like I just said, about people using 75% of performance, they're finding that a majority of people these days are not using physical media. Now, the people opposed to no disk drives are saying, well, if this is the top end, if this is the Pro, the professional model, it should come with all the bells and whistles, right? This is the Pro. Give me the disk drive. Let me decide if I'm going to use physical media or not. So now there's been quite a run on disk drives. Amazon, Best Buy, they're all sold out. Whether those are people that are intended to buy the PS5 Pro or those are intended people to resell them on other stores to cash in on the PS5 Pro remains to be seen. But let me know, Matt, how did the price initially hit you?
Expensive. I mean, it $700. I mean, it's up there. It's pricey. I think it'd probably be the people who want to buy it, the enthusiasts like you, Mike. Be going out and getting this. I know. I probably won't at first. Unless I get an extra win. Some extra bingo money or something like that to go out and get it. It's just, I don't think I would. It's not for me. But there's a lot of people out there that's going to get it. It's going to buy it. $700. That's up there, man. That's. But I do gotta say also, you was talking about Space Marine. Noah was upstairs playing Space Marine, and I peeked in and saw that, and it looked gorgeous on his PS5 that he has now. So I could just imagine it, looking better or something on this, how it would look. So, for the people that want the best, latest, and greatest, go ahead, go for it. More power to you. I'm happy for you that something's coming out to fix that itch that you have for games looking better and playing better and so forth. Yeah, good. Congrats. I hope it does well. I don't want to see anything really fail. So, and then if I may touch on the no disk drive, I don't see that as a big deal. I think the majority of people actually probably don't see it as a big deal. I mean, my PC, most PCs don't come with a disk drive anymore. So,
right.
Yeah, everything's getting all digital.
Well, the PC people will say the difference between a PlayStation and a PC is that the PC is open-ended, that you can do a lot more with these games, that you don't need the disc, right? And that's the whole purpose of a PlayStation, is to have of a computer or PC, is to have that freedom. So you can't really compare the two, where an Xbox or a PlayStation is a closed system, and if you are limiting games just to digital, and their stores go belly up, or the game's no longer available, how does that game live on? Where on the PC, you can do other things with the games to continually breathe life into them. But, in theory, the average person is not hacking into a PlayStation or an Xbox to continue to play games. And so there's a preservation aspect that comes into play when you just slowly start to introduce digital only machines that are in a closed system. Is how do these games live on? Now for you, I know that's not a big thing. You've abandoned your PlayStation ecosystem, all the games that you've accumulated over time. Yeah, you can log back in eventually if you want to resub, and they're there because PlayStation is thriving right now. But there is going to be come a time where me and you, Matt, our libraries are going to go away, whether it's music libraries, gaming libraries, and that's going to be a reckoning at some point. Because these companies are not always going to be here. They're not always going to support our older systems. So I think that's the risk you take when you go all digital, that some of these things are going to happen. So the enthusiast, the preservation people, they are not thrilled that this thing doesn't come with the disc, that if you're making me pay $700, it should come with all the bells and whistles. When I first heard $700, yeah, it took me aback. I thought it was going to be somewhere between $549 and $599. I thought the $549 maybe would not come with the disc. $599. Well, I thought they would have 2 SKUs. Now, in listening to a lot of podcasts and shows over the last week, I guess disk drives are hard to come by. Like Microsoft is not putting disk drives in their console, like the new one that they got coming out, because they're just hard to get and allocate. Now, Sony's in a different situation. Sony makes the fucking drives. Now, is Sony making them at the same clip that they were before? Are they still readily available off the supply line? That I don't know. So it is an interesting call, but you can get the add-on. But back to the price, I thought $700 was steep. That was my initial reaction. Like, whoa, that's a lot of money. This is not going to be good for Sony. And clearly, the sentiment online, people are upset. You got the Sony fanboys are even upset, saying, I seen on Reddit, boycott this model, don't buy it. That this is a litmus test from the console makers to see if consumers are willing to spend $700, because then the PS6 and whatever Xbox is doing next is going to be $700 and more, because all of a sudden gamers are conditioned to buy this. Sort of like gas prices are never going to go back down, Matt, to what me and you paid for when we first started driving. The cost, but let's just say what it's at now. I don't think it's ever going to go back to $2 or under $2, because I think some people are going to say the human is now conditioned to pay somewhere between $2.80 and $3.50 a gallon, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I think you can go down, you can put the tinfoil hat and go down a really bad anxiety road when you think about all that stuff. The groceries aren't ever going to come down because now we've been conditioned to pay a certain price, and et cetera, et cetera. So I come back to the $700 for the console, and I'm like, well, why is the gaming community convinced that a console should cost X amount of dollars in 2024 as it did when the 360 released, as it did when the PS4 released? Why are we still in that same? Now, I want to make it clear. The cheaper you can make things as far as not quality, but price-wise, I'm all for. I'm not sitting here saying, I want to spend $700. But if I looked at what it costs for me to buy my iPhone 5-6 years ago versus what I paid last year, it probably went up somewhere between $300 to $500. If I looked at what I have a 2011 Honda Pilot. At some point over the next year or so, I'm going to have to buy a new car. What I paid for that in 2011 to what I'm going to pay for it now is going to go through the roof.
Absolutely.
Right? What I paid on my electricity bill 5 to 8 years ago compared to what I'm paying on my electricity bill now. So all I'm trying to get is, why do we think in the console space that the price always has to stay the same? Why? There's an expectation that Sony and Microsoft have to subsidize these things, sell them at a loss. And again, I'm the consumer. Do I care if Sony or Microsoft makes money? No. Do I want them to subsidize it so it's cheaper for me? Yes. But at the same side, businesses are going to business. And why is there this expectation that these companies have to lose money on everything that they make? Now, if you told me, Matt, that this was the entry point to get into the PS5, like we're going from the PS4 to the PS5, and this was the entry point, you had to plop down $700, I probably would be a little bit more upset at the cost, because then you're closing out like the starting point for everybody, right? But this is like a mid-gen refresh. You don't have to get it if you want to be on the PS5. You have other cheaper alternatives. This is a nice to have, but it's not
a luxury item.
It's not the system. So I don't know if any of that made sense. I don't know if you have any feelings about like the cost and why people in gaming feel that, the game's always got to be somewhere, but $60 game, $400 to $500 system, and anything north of that is just gross, over the top greed from corporations. Do you buy into any of that? What is your feelings on that?
I agree with you about the price stuff. And that let's go back to that a little bit. So yeah, items, goods go up in cost. Okay, I mean they're going from a 1 terabyte drive to a 2 terabyte drive. Well, that costs more money, right? So you got to charge more. There increased GPU, all this other stuff, all the things that go into it. It's more, so they got to charge more. They got to make a buck too. Just like your analogies of cars and groceries, all that is very much valid. I think where the price comes back with people think that anything over $500, $400, whatever for a console is ridiculous. Is because we're starting to think, even though PCs, gaming PCs are good, $2,000, $3,000 now, right? That anything like that, you might as well buy a PC type of deal, right? $800, it's not a very good gaming PC.
What people don't understand when they say, well, you can go out and just buy a PC. Yeah, the $2,000 to $3,000 PC is the extreme, right? There's people out there that can part these things together, like the 55 Chevy with the 65 Honda and the 7. You can make the Frankenstein, and it will run some games okay. It will run most games okay, but there is things, and I'm not an engineer, so I'm not going to speak to the exact terminology here, but there are things, manufacturing, API calls, et cetera, that make that closed system work and hum to get you the best experience inside that box.
Without tweaking it.
When you get the Frankenstein system or you get the lower end system, I mean, I see some people says, well, I can build a PC for $500. Okay, so you got the box for $500. Now you got to get the monitor. You got to get the other peripherals just to start. Do you really think that $500 system that you're going to buy is going to have all those things working harmoniously the same way that the engineers have crafted the Xbox and the PS5? I would say no. You're going to run into bumps in the road. You're going to run into things where certain games work and certain games don't. As Matt and I see on our higher end systems, like Matt has Diablo issues on his games. Mm-hmm. I couldn't run Helldivers on my system. Right? There's just certain things that even these high-end machines, can't handle. So yes, if you feel that way, if the price turns you off and you want to build a PC, fine. Now, most PCs, it's getting better. We're going to get there in 3 to 5 years. But most PCs have a tough time working with televisions, right? They are working towards that technology. And that's, I think, ultimately where Valve wants to go here with the Steam Deck, and they might come out with the Steam Box again. Maybe that's where Microsoft is headed with their next console, is sort of having a PC interface better with the television. Okay? I think, long story short there, it's your money. Do what you want. If you feel that, the price is getting too high and I might as well just build a PC, go for it. Knock your socks off. See how it feels to chase every part down, chase every sale down, looking at Parts Picker and making sure everything's compatible. All of a sudden you get all the pieces and all of a sudden things don't fit. The case is too small. The case is too big. I can't fit this in my
airflow issues.
Yeah. Does PlayStation have and Xbox have all that stuff nailed down to a T? Mostly. Did the PS4 sound like a jet engine taking off and that was a a problem. Yes, they addressed it with the PS4 Pro and the PS5. Those machines are a lot quieter. But I think you are paying for a certain experience with those consoles where they have manufactured and taking into account how everything works in the system, so you get the best possible experience on a console. And a lot of times I say when the toothpaste gets squeezed out of the tube, you can't put it back in. And gamers now, a majority of gamers, I believe, are always chasing the best fidelity, right? They're visual whores, right? You put some pixelated thing in front of them, and they're going to snub their nose at it. You put some retro looking thing in there, they're going to snub their nose at it. It might look good on the screen, but if you tell them it's 1080p and it's not 4K HDR, they're going to snub their nose at it. So this is what you got. This is what you want, and now you have to live in the reality that it is, that these people are chasing these visuals. So these console makers are putting these systems out to get you the best performance and visual box that you can. And you just got to decide whether the machine is right for you. Do you have the television to take advantage of it? Do you not? Do you care about visuals? Where are you at age-wise? Can you tell the difference between 1080p and 4K HDR and all this other stuff? That's a big thing for me as I decide whether I'm going to buy this thing is, A, how much use am I going to get out of it? Because right now I'm 500 plus hours in Fallout 76, and that's on PC. My consoles right now are collecting dust because this is where I'm at in gaming. So am I going to get any use out of it? And then if I do get it and get some use out of it, at this stage in life, turning 49 next month, can my eyes tell the difference?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I think some valid points here with, you pay for convenience, right? You buy this PS5, Xbox, whatever, you go to Walmart, Best Buy, whatever, you can go anywhere to get it, right? Okay. They're easy to pretty much get. You take it home, you unbox it, open it up, plug it in any TV, and it works. Sure, you download some software updates or whatever, but it works, it plays, it goes. And you're good to go. Start playing any old game you want. Yeah, I think there's value, definitely value to that for people. And also it's a media device, right? You can download your TV apps on it, music, all that stuff. It's a media device. It's a cable box. It's all of that. There's a lot to be said about that.
Right. Yeah. The comments online, I just, people are really, everybody became an economist, a finance expert, myself included. I am not free of this claim either. We all got honorary degrees. Congratulations. Hopefully the cap and gown fit you well.
That's one of my favorite things on Facebook is when something happens, yesterday I was an expert on climate changes. Today I'm an expert on world political affairs.
Yeah.
It's, oh my gosh. Yes. I try to avoid the comments.
Never read the comments.
It's easy to say. It's easy to say, but
just real quick before we move on, do you think executives, Matt, are sitting in a boardroom saying, you've been in not board meetings, but you've been in work meetings. Do you think they're sitting there going, okay, this machine is costing us, I'm making up numbers here, so these are not accurate numbers. Let's say the Sony tallied all the price. Someone somewhere is making the money on this, right? To make the GPU, who's making it? Is it AMD? Who's the one cashing out? Is the trail that I'm trying to chase. And the point I'm trying to make here is Sony executive offices, they got the sheet tally. All right, this machine is going to cost us $585 per box to make. Okay? I'm making up a number. It could be $585, it could be $535, it could be $685. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, okay, this is the number that it's costing us per machine to make. How much revenue do we need to make? So you would hope if, let's just say it was $585, you would hope they wouldn't jack the price up by another $115, right? Are they saying it's 685 then to make, so they're selling it for 700? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, are they selling it a little bit over what it costs them to make, or are they selling it a lot? And if they are selling it a lot, is some executive there in a suit going, well, this is our opportunity to test the market to see what gamers are really willing to pay? You think those conversations happen?
I think there's definitely conversations. I mean, who do they have to make happy? The investors, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line, they got to make money. Okay. No one, if Mike, they come up, you're investing in that. Hey, oh, by the way, you know what? Your stock's going to go down some. Your value of stock's going to go down some because we're going to eat the cost of these consoles because Matt and Mike are complaining on the podcast that it's too expensive. So in order to sell them, you're going to lose money so they can make money. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And I'm sure there is pencil pushers and that out there that are looking at the bottom line, the cost, and say, okay, how can we maximize what we're getting without having to raise the cost too much? I'm sure there is people thinking about, okay, there's test markets. They're probably put feelers out there. Okay, what would you pay for a console? Different surveys here and there. They've got that data. They're looking at that. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, definitely the Xbox Series X and the PS5, they sell at a loss. At least initially, they subsidize those. That's a known thing that they're not making money off those. But those are like I like to say, is the entry point into that console life cycle. So that makes sense. You want to get those people on board. You're mass producing those at such a feverish clip that you want to sell them so people get in and start buying your software. Just like they do with the Amazon devices and things like that. They probably sell those things cheaper and eat the cost because they want people to go in there and use all the things, that will serve you up. Hey, this item's in your shopping cart, and this thing, you bought this before and it's on sale again. They want you. They're willing to eat the cost to get you into the ecosystem. The PS5 Pro is not that. The PS5 Pro is not the gateway into the PlayStation 5 ecosystem. So I am very curious to know, like, how much does this machine cost them to make versus what they're selling? I don't know if we'll ever know that. My gut reaction tells me they're not selling this particular machine at a loss. And just because some of the comments Phil Spencer said a couple months back, he says, it's tougher to get the manufacturing costs down. Manufacturing costs are going up. And that's what I was asking you, like, it's going up. So who is driving the price up? What is driving the price up? Is it because the workers need to get paid more because the cost of living has gone up? So we have to pay those workers X amount of more to put the chip on the die. And so that's driving cost up. Is it just the resources to get that chip, to make that chip, the fracking and all that stuff? Has that gone up?
I think it's all the above. Labor costs are up. I mean, to go out and
shipping the container to get it shipped, from plate A to B. So I'd really like to know, maybe it will shake out in stories that are coming up, like how much profit are they making in this machine? I do not believe that they are selling this thing at a loss, that they're making some sort of revenue. Is that $2 a machine, $5, $100? I don't know. I'd be curious to know.
I mean, a lot of that information you're not going to get, because then people revolt. It only costs like $300 to make.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to, and
well, Sony's not going to come out to this. This is where the journalists have to come in and the fact finders have to come out and sort of come up with an educated guess. Okay, if I was a console maker and I went to AMD and I said, I want you to make this many units for me, this is what those are the types of questions of journalists. But
yeah.
Before we move on, Sony will be, if the price is too high and you're still on the PS4 and you're interested in a PS5, Sony is going to start selling refurbished PS5s, dubbed certified refurbished. A digital edition of the PS5 will cost you $349. It's going to be put on sale soon, which is half the price of the PS5 Pro. You'll also be able to get a refurbished PS5 with a disc, I believe, for $400. So for $399. So I think that's pretty cool. Selling refurbished. Hopefully, it goes through a good check system that it is actually certified. So, if you're someone still stuck on a PS4, or someone has sold your PS4 to an ex-lover and you don't have a PS5 and you're thinking about going to a PS5, there are some other options here besides plunking down $700 for the Pro. All right. Moving on, Microsoft has laid off 650 employees to bring the total to approximately 2,550 employees that have been laid off since the Activision acquisition. 3% of Xbox's global workforce was laid off last week. Quote from Phil Spencer, "Our goal has been to minimize disruption while welcoming new teams and enabling them to do their best work. As part of our aligning our post-acquisition team structure and managing our business, we have made the decision to eliminate approximately 650 roles across Microsoft Gaming, mostly corporate and supporting functions, to organize our business for long-term success. No games, devices, or experiences are being canceled, nor are any studios being closed." Tom Warren at The Verge, who's a fantastic journalist, reports that layoffs have had a huge impact on the morale of the remaining Xbox employees. Most of the employees he has spoken to are confused by Phil's strategy, Xbox's strategy. So we are not economists, but I have been around for a number of acquisitions in my own work experience, and usually how this plays out is everybody plays nicey nice for a couple of years, couple months, depending on how aggressive the strategy is. And then you find out you don't need two people in head of marketing. You don't need two directors of, sales, or two, those are the kind of positions usually that get eliminated. Or if you have multiple support teams, well, we don't really need this second support team. We can just, cross-train our existing support team on, this new product that we're now supporting. Right. And then we just eliminate those jobs. And you hate to see people lose jobs right now. It is a terrible, terrible time to be looking for jobs. It's a very competitive market out there. And I could have a whole podcast series on how competitive it is and what you need to do to get your resume through the whole screening process. It's actually not a human reading your resume. It's all an algorithm, but I'll get off my soapbox. So it is really, really, really unfortunate if you lose your job at this time, because it is an uphill climb to get recognized, to even just get your foot in the door for an interview. So I feel for all those people, 2,500 plus. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I got a little bit of my head in the sand on this one, because I've just been so much away from what Xbox is doing, even though I'm playing every night on an Xbox Game Pass game. But they say no games, services, or experiences have been canceled. Okay, good. I'm trying to figure out what gets me excited about Xbox anymore. You got the Xbox system. You're not playing it as much because you're on the PC, but you're using the Game Pass just like I am. I don't know, they talk about the morale. Where does Xbox go from here? And I don't think anybody has an answer. I don't think, certainly casual guys like us that talk games every other week certainly don't have the answer. And the experts like the Digital Foundry guys are just as confused as us. Like, what do they do next? Do they come out with a handheld? Do they come out with some sort of Switch-like system that you can put it on handheld, but then you can connect it to your TV? We talked last time about a box that just has all the storefronts on it, just like an app like the Steam and the Epic and the Ubisoft, and you're just, having multiple storefronts on one box.
Well, I think one thing, Mike, that needs to happen, they all these acquisitions, all these studios and that they bought, they got to start coming out with some winning games, to actually produce and bring this shit back up. And, have people have a reason to buy Xbox and Game Pass and all that.
And is that the reason why their next Xbox, they want to have all these storefronts? Because, hey, if we're not bringing the games that are sort of living up to your standard. You can still use our box to play your Steam games. You can still use our box to play, whatever other storefronts are willing to go on it. I am so curious to see what their next move is, because clearly they have decided a mid-gen refresh is not their next move. They're not going to come out with, there was the Xbox One and then there was the Xbox One X. They're not putting out the Series X Plus, Series X Max. They are staying with these two, the S and the X. They have different versions of them coming out flavor-wise, but the technology is the same. So I'm really curious what their next step is, and they say that their next console's experience is not for another 3 years, so 2028 is when they probably will release something. And in the meantime, the best Xbox experiences, like the next Indiana Jones game, you play it on the PS5 Pro to get the best experience, right?
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, the layoffs, everybody was thinking that this was the magic pill, whatever terminology you want to use, for Xbox. They're just going to buy up all these studios, and it's going to be, they're going to make everything exclusive, and everybody's going to come over to Xbox. And boy, it hasn't shaken out like that. People still flock to buy the PlayStation. Nintendo outsells both of them. People want to be on the Switch. They want to be on the go with their device.
Well, they make games. Nintendo puts out fantastic games. Even the Zeldas, the Marios, all that stuff. People eat that shit up, man.
They have recognized that they're getting their clock cleaned by PlayStation and the console. They're not selling them anywhere as close as PlayStation is. So they're gonna try to pivot here, and I am very, very curious to see what that shakes out to be.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, a couple of stories here before we wrap up. A new system update for PlayStation 5 is out. It's a gradual, phased release. On my PS5s, yes, I got the update, but I don't have the Welcome Hub yet. So they got this new thing coming out, the Welcome Hub. It's a new personalized space with customizable widgets and backgrounds for your PS5 home screen. So I still have the Explore tab. I don't have the Welcome Hub yet. Reading out about the Welcome, though, it sounds... I don't have an Android device, Matt, but on my iPhone, my home screen, I can put all these widgets. I can put the clock. I can put how much battery life I have left. I can put my Spotify app there and all these other things. So it sounds like that's what the Welcome Hub's going to be, that you can customize that. So you can, at a quick view, you can have all the things that are important to you rather than being fed this news drip from Sony. You get to decide. But it's not out yet.
That sounds pretty neat.
It's not out yet, so I haven't, it hasn't come to my PlayStation, so I can't give my impressions of it. Party Share, the ability to share party voice chat links on messaging and social media apps. That's being rolled out globally in a few weeks. Personalized 3D audio profiles for headphones and earbuds. Adjust remote play settings per user who is allowed to connect to your PS5 console using remote play. So those couple things there are quality of life, as well as adaptive charging for your controllers. As soon as I booted up my PS5s after them being powered off for a while, all my controllers needed to be updated. So I'm not sure what the adaptive charging does, but I guess it just figures out. It just starts charging it. I don't know. I got to read more to what that exactly means, but all I know is all my controls needed updating as soon as I booted mine up.
Vibration update.
Both of your kids have gaming PCs, Matt, right? Or one maybe has a laptop, one has a PC. Steam Families is here. It's now a new and existing, it's a collection of new and existing family-related features. It replaces both Steam Family Sharing and Steam Family View, giving you a single location to manage which games your family can access and when they can play. So one rule still applies. You have to have 2 copies of the game if you're both going to play it at the same time. You can't buy 1 copy of Helldivers and say, Noah, go upstairs and play it, and I'm going to go play it downstairs and we can both play.
Mm-hmm.
Can't happen. So you can, but you can, all by default, all games are shared. Now, if you are the family, the adult on the sharing, and Noah plays Helldivers and gets banned, you get banned too.
That's good.
Right? If your other child is on there and he was not involved, he does not get banned. But the account owner and the children on there, you both face the punishment.
You use it at all? I don't. Both my kids, they're totally on their own now. They got their own game subscriptions with either PlayStation or Xbox and Steam. They both got their own Steam accounts and do their own thing.
I tried to share my Steam with my oldest son many times, and he, like you, they just want to be independent. They're not really into it. They just want to do their own thing. Hell, my middle son, because Jason Tatum is on the cover of NBA 2K this year, and he's a big Celtics fan. He went out, and he's got a job. He's got his own debit card. He went out, opened his own Amazon account, and got 2K, the physical edition, delivered to him. Because he's such a fan, he wanted the physical copy. Where he could have just said to him to come to us and said, "Hey, here's the cash. Can you just, buy the game from your Amazon account?"
Yeah, Christopher is the same way. I'm pretty sure he's got his own Amazon shit going on. He's got his own Xbox stuff, PlayStation stuff, and Steam, all that stuff. He's got his own. He's DoorDash and all that stuff. He's got his own little thing there with that, and it's just wild.
I would love to shake them out of the Xbox tree, but they use all my Xbox, and so that's good to get the Game Pass. And if they install, my son's Xbox is the main Xbox, so if the game's downloaded there, he can play it. But yeah, that's the one thing they haven't decoupled. They haven't gained Xbox independence yet. And speaking of Xbox, last news item here, a decade after ditching Xbox friend requests, Microsoft is bringing them back. So if you can remember back to the Xbox One days, it was no longer friend requests. We all followed each other like Facebook.
Yeah.
It was all about following, how many followers you had. And it was not about friend requests. And we were like, well, why the fuck people follow? I don't know who these people are that are following me. And you would look at, and God forbid to clean that up, it was such a hassle.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So now it's, like it should be. It's friend request.
Good. I like that.
We can sleep well.
Yes.
Anything we didn't touch upon, Matt, that you want to get off your chest, circle back to, discuss more in depth?
I can't think of anything. Pumpkin spices are coming out. Sausages are coming out. It's that time of year. I think things are good. Things are going good.
Our former esteemed guests are not with us, Eric and Jeremy, but I am fairly certain Eric is going to buy the PlayStation 5 Pro and not be happy about the price, but he's going to buy it. And Jeremy's going to say, "Hell no."
Yes,
because
I agree 100%.
Jeremy's got the PS5. And he's building. I know he's in the process of building his own PC. So I think he's all set with that.
Yep. Yep.
Everybody else listening, let us know where you're at with the PS5 Pro, because I know Mafia is probably listening, and he's trying to quietly sell his Rogue Ally, the base one, so he can get the Rogue Ally X. And guess what? Rogue Ally X is $100 more than the PS5 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
$799 for that.
$799. Yeah.
So,
yeah. If anyone wants to buy me one, I'd be more than happy to accept that.
But yes, people out there listening, please let us know. Are you buying the PS5 Pro? Are you interested? What do you think Xbox is going to do next with their next console? Are they going to stay the course and just release the biggest, baddest version of Xbox in 3 years? Or are they going to go some sort of hybrid model with a handheld and a home PC that can be plugged into your television? Let us know. Otherwise, this, Matthew, concludes our episode, I should say.
All right.
And we will catch you all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.